Hello friends, welcome back. How to pronounce contractions. In this video lesson, we'll go through common contractions you may have to use, you should be using when speaking in English. Together we'll go through the pronunciation of these common contractions so that you can use them when speaking in English. Friends, there are many contractions many English speakers use in the English language, but in this lesson we'll be only focusing on those contractions used with the words be, would, will and have. Friends, I would love to hear from you. I would love to hear if you are using contractions when speaking in English. Join the discussion below this video and tell me, are you using contractions? If you are, which contractions are you using? And if you're not using contractions, tell me why. Now, to better help you improve your pronunciation and most importantly use these contractions when speaking in English, friends, I do suggest that you use and apply the shadowing technique throughout this video lesson. Now, I have made a whole video lesson on this topic. You will find the link to that lesson in the description below this video, but throughout this lesson, what I want you to do is listen and repeat out loud, okay? Let's begin by looking at contractions using the word be. The first contraction comes from the words I am. The contraction is I'm. I'm Adriana. I'm Adriana. Now, your is a contracted form of the words you are. For example, you're Bob. You're Mary. You're an English learner. Your. His is a contraction of the words he is. For example, he's Bob. He's a builder. He's nice. Again, he's Bob. He's a builder. He's nice. The next contraction is she's. This comes from the words she is. Listen carefully. She's Adriana. She's an English teacher. She is okay. She's Adriana. She's an English teacher. And she's okay. Next contraction, it, comes from the words it is. Listen carefully. It's hot. It's hot. It's cold. It's cold. It's a nice day. It's a nice day. The next contraction, where, comes from the words we are. For example, we're happy. We're happy. Or we're sad. We're sad. Or we're okay. We're okay. The next contraction there comes from the words they are. For example, they're happy. They're happy. Or they're sad. They're sad. Or they're okay. They're okay. The contraction that comes from the words that is. For example, that's so sad. That's so sad. Or that's really nice of you. That's really nice of you. That's. The next contraction, whose, comes from the words who is. For example, who's there? Who's there? Or who's knocking? Who's knocking? The contraction what comes from the words what is. For example, what's outside? What's outside? Or what's in the box? What's in the box? The contraction whatta comes from the words what are. For example, what are you doing? What are you doing? Or what are they doing? What are they doing? The contraction where's comes from the words where is. For example, where's the phone? Where's the book? Where's the computer? Where's? The contraction when's comes from the words when is. For example, when's Bob coming? Or when's Mary coming? When's. The next contraction why's comes from the words why is. For example, why is it hot? Why is it hot? Or why is it cold? Why is it cold? The contraction how's comes from the words how is. For example, how's Mary? How's Mary? Or how's Bob? How's Bob? Let's look at some common contractions with the word will. I'll is a contraction from the words I will. For example, I'll run today. I'll. I'll run today. I'll eat today. I'll eat today. You'll is a contracted form of the words you will. For example, you'll run. You'll run. Or you'll eat. you'll eat. He'll is a contracted form of the words he will. He'll, he'll, he'll eat, he'll run, he'll drive, he'll cook. She'll is a contracted form of the words she will. For example, she'll sit, she'll run, she'll talk, she'll hang up. It'll is a contracted form of the words it will. For example, it'll rain, or it'll be sunny, it'll be sunny. Will is a contracted form of the words we will. For example, we'll talk, we'll have a great day, we'll have fun. Will. They'll is a contracted form of the words they will. For example, they'll run, they'll cook, they'll eat, they'll have fun. That'll is a contracted form of the words that will. For example, that'll be fun, or that'll be awesome, that'll be awesome. Who'll is a contracted form of the words who will. Who'll run, who'll eat, who'll cook, who'll clean, who'll. What'll is a contracted form of the words what will. For example, what'll we do, what'll we eat, what'll we cook, what'll we do, what'll. Where'll is a contracted form of the words where will. For example, where'll we eat, where'll we run, where'll we cook, where'll we sleep. When'll is a contracted form of the words when will. For example, when'll we eat, when'll we run, when'll we cook, when'll. While is a contracted form of the words why will. For example, while we run, while we cook, while we drive. How is a contracted form of the words how will. For example, how we do that, how we run, how we eat. Let's move on and look at contractions with the word would. I'd is a contracted form of the words I would. For example, I'd like a cup of coffee, or I'd like a glass of water. I'd. Yet is a contracted form of the words you would. For example, you'd like that, you'd like that, you'd like that. He'd is a contracted form of the words he would. For example, he'd like that, he'd like that. She'd is a contracted form of the words she would. For example, she'd like that, she'd like that. It'd is a contracted form of the words it would. For example, it'd be nice to go, it'd be nice to go, or it'd be nice to be outside, it'd be nice to be outside. Would is a contracted form of the words we would. For example, we'd love that, would love that, would love that. They'd is a contracted form of the words they would. For example, they'd love that, they'd love that, they'd love that. That'd is a contracted form of the words that would. For example, that'd be nice, that'd be nice, that'd be nice. Who'd is a contracted form of the words who would. For example, who'd like a drink, who'd like a drink, who'd like a drink, who'd like a drink. What is a contracted form of the words what would. For example, what'd you like, what'd you like. Let's move on and have a look at contractions with the word have. The contraction I've is a shortened form of the words I have. For example, I have a car, I have a car, I have a car, I have a car, I have a car. You've is a contracted form of the words you have. For example, you've got 3 brothers, you've got 3 brothers, you've got 3 brothers. His is a contracted form of the words he has. For example, he has a car, he has a car. The next contraction, she's, is a contracted form of the words she has. For example, she's got a bike, she's got a bike, she's got a bike. The contraction its is a contracted form of the words it has. For example, it's got 4 doors, it's got 4 doors, it's got 4 doors. The contraction we've is a contraction of the words we have. For example, we've got 5 doors, we've got 5 doors, we've got 5 doors. The contraction they've is a contracted form of the words they have. For example, they've got 2 doors, they've got 2 doors, they've got 2 doors. That is a contracted form of the words that has. For example, that's got 10 doors. That's got 10 doors. Whose is a contracted form of the words who has. For example, who's got a drink? Who's got a drink? Who's got a drink? What is a contracted form of the words what has. For example, what's got 3 legs? What's got 3 legs? What's? What's got 3 legs? There you have it, friends. In this lesson, we've gone through common contractions with the words be, would, will, and have. Remember to watch this video lesson a few times to practice. Say these sentences, say these words out loud, shadow so that you can improve your pronunciation, and most importantly, use these contractions when you speak in English. If you like this video lesson, make sure to like it, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so that you get the next lesson I post here on my YouTube channel, and be a good friend. Help your friends learning English by sharing this video lesson with them. Thanks for being here, thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the discussion below this video. Bye for now.